Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Excellency Light League. Glad if you're still with us, but if you're just joining us, we're now into our second set here. Shadow Blade Slash versus Degenerate's Esports. Degenerate's currently almost at the top of the pile here, second in the league, versus Shadow Blade Slash, which have yet to still eke out a game in any of their sets here. So definitely a strong uphill battle for them. I am Zephyr, play-by-play caster, even maybe a robot sometimes, but still play-by-play. And Coach O'Bubby, the lovely color as always.
Thank you. I do want to point out, so Shadowblade Slash has come in, you said, without eeping out a win. They're changing their roster a little bit right now. So their mid laner is currently Dappergav, who used to be their top, and now swapped into the mid. They have sub Lil Bobby 69 playing in top. So it might be a bit of a roster change that could swing in their favor. This might be what they need to come out with their first win of the day. So looking forward to seeing what they're able to do with this change.
Yes, sir. Oh, boy. And at this point, I'm looking to see if we can even see something interesting be pulled out here from Shadowblade Slash. Because when you're at this point and you've got a huge chunk of losses onto your belt, what I really want to see is the weaknesses of other of these teams drawn out. It would be awesome if Shadowblade Slash can pull out a win, and I'm not going to build up against that. What I do want to see is an improvement from this team overall, combined with the fact that we might see some weaknesses slip through from Degenerate's Esports, and that's a great playing off of point for other teams to look into. But either way, draft is up.
Yeah, we're going to see some very specific target bans. The Nautilus, Kha'Zix, and Diana against Degen. I know we've seen that Diana go through one time. And if you remember specifically, Zephyr, what it looked like when that Diana went through, it was terrifying.
It was rough.
It was very terrifying. 4 or 5 people, Moonlights. They were dancing in it, I can tell you that much, and it was not looking pretty for the enemy team. So not going to let that mistake go through again. I feel like we're going to see that in both games. Udyr, what can I say? I know I'm a broken record with Seraphine, but for your sake, Zephyr, I'll say it for you. If you are red team, you must ban Udyr. They did not ban Seraphine, which I normally also say, but they didn't pick it up. They opted in for the first pick, Kai'Sa, for Shadowblade Slash. They didn't decide they want the Seraphine. It now does go through to Degens with the Skarner, looking really solid with their team comp so far. Really good pick and catch potential. So we'll see what kind of team comp they rotate into that as Ivern officially gets locked
rare.
in.
Oh my.
Very rare indeed. We've seen Ivern top in some matches recently. Not a lot of them, but we have seen Ivern top in some matches. It does pair well with carry junglers.
I'd be pressed to see if this is going jungle too, though.
Yeah, and then Ivern jungle, the more traditional. Fresh Kai'Sa, super solid. Not really something that ever goes wrong with any AD carry, no matter what you're playing with. But does pair with Kai'Sa really well. She can go in for side flanks with Killer Instinct and get lanterned out, or Killer Instinct in off of a hook. Sivir, pretty difficult to deal with. Bixis grabbing that one. The On the Hunt, with that movement speed increase and combo that was Seraphine, it is going to be a 900 movement speed Skarner with Chem Tank flying in on your carry and just stinging her and pulling her away. So super solid combo so far.
I'm interested to see how the Sivir plays out. Like you said, the additional movement speed on the hunt, but it definitely does not have the same kind of bursty potential that a Kai'Sa does when you get to that mid to late game. Now, granted, Degenerate's Esports can play off an incredible bleed, get super duper fed, and that Sivir, the point of its contention doesn't really even matter at that point. But I'd love to see the scaling potential from Shadowblade Slash. If Vorn can come through here and play to his fullest potential, Kai'Sa's a great pick into Sivir at times, right? Once the spell shield is down, that's a pretty much promptly immobile, especially without On the Hunt AD carry, that can be capitalized, pressured, and pushed out. Now, he's playing into the face of a Seraphine and a Skarner, though, so bit rougher to deal with. Either way, topside bans out from Degenerates, both Gnar and Wukong, and mid, respectively, with that Kastin as well as the Olaf. No, Gragas. Wow.
And that Seraphine could go mid, so we still don't know the support yet in this bottom side. If they pair it with a more enchanter-oriented support, that could really hinder Kai'Sa's ability to out DPS that Sivir if you're just sitting there pumping it with something like a Lulu, Soraka, a Karma, a Nami. Unless they do decide to opt into Seraphine support and rock a hard-hitting mid lane or something, maybe like a Syndra would fit their comp really well. But Orianna gets grabbed going over to
I like that.
Huge pick. Not a perfect ball delivery system. Cho'Gath really being the only melee champion on the team. So Ivern can land a Q. Cho'Gath can right click him, dash into melee range with an Orianna ball. But that's not the traditional ball system we're used to seeing. But with a lot of bushes, Ivern could set bushes down. Orianna leaves a ball in a bush. They don't see it. They walk towards it, and boom, now they get hit by a huge shockwave too. So kind of some interesting play combos that you usually get with an Ivern that I'd like to see.
Now this is interesting. I'm thinking your pin on the Seraphine mid looks like it might be coming through. Is they're going to be probably lying that Sivir with Shen in the bot lane? I mean, that's my judgment at this point.
Yeah, I would say that's going to be a Shen support. We haven't really seen it too much, but it's not one of it's not one of those odd picks. It's one of those rare picks. Shen support has a pretty solid win rate. People who know how to play it can be very terrifying. Sion ults in top lane, Shen standing on him united. Boom, Cho'Gath sitting there hitting a turret with 3/4 HP, and now there's a Shen taunting him under turret with a Sion locking him down with CC. All of this, at 10 minutes in the game, and you're thinking, what the heck? How do I plan for this? If it's something you're not used to playing around, it will throw you off very hard time and time again.
Well, let's start looking at how this comp plays into each other and how they work around themselves. Lane to lane can be lane to lane for as long as I like, but I do enjoy the fact that you do have something great with the Wombo onto Shadowblade Slash, being into the Cho'Gath with the knock into the pressure from his frontline engagement with Thresh's box, Orianna Shockwave, Ivern coming through with Daisy to line it up as well, and then all of it is centralized around the eggs in the basket. You've got that Kai'Sa to capitalize in the mid game, play with the killer instinct, and make sure that you're actually pumping it out.
Yeah, the combo is very high potential. You can have Daisy get a huge knockup out of the Shockwave, into Cho'Gath knockup, into Thresh Blade, Thresh Ultimate, into another knockup from Daisy.
It's a bounce house, man.
Yeah, it's a bounce house. For all you know, 1 second you're getting hit by an Orianna Shockwave, and the next you're in a Jolly Jumper, and you didn't even know it. So
what the heck is a Jolly Jumper?
Are you being serious right now? You don't know what a Jolly Jumper is?
Absolutely. Are you British? Is that a thing?
A Jolly Jumper? Oh my gosh, Twitch chat. This man doesn't know it. Did you have a childhood, Zephyr? I'm sorry. It's okay.
I'm fine with ignoring the game.
Colebox picks up Seraphine mid. That is going to be the Shen support. Colebox, last time we saw him play was actually on that Orianna and on that Diana. So a lot of AoE CC style champions being played by Colebox. Seraphine fits right in there. New player on the team. I think this is week 3 for him. So really excited to see what they get to do with that Seraphine, and getting to show you, Zephyr, why I always say to make sure to ban out that Seraphine.
So it's like a glorified baby swing.
A glorified baby swing. If that's what you want to call it, a Jolly Jumper is a glorified baby swing.
Joking aside, Jolly Jumper, glorified baby swing. Like you said, Seraphine in the mid lane, that's going to be the pressure. Colebox doing great to mesh into this team very well in week 1, or my apologies, into week 2 there. We did see him come out as the new mid laner, and now he's definitely put him as the time frame best carry for this team. And like you said, we're about to find out why this champion is consistently banned out, as much to your discretion as it has been in the past. And we didn't discuss it, but major combo potential combined with the Encore into the Impale, into the instant onslaught towards the front line. And meanwhile, this entire time, you've got the safety of Shen through the Stand United, with the Sivir constantly pumping damage out, and out, right? This is going to be so difficult for Shadowblade Slash to deal with all of that and not find themselves in a poor window or position to play around.
Yeah, I think if Cho'Gath gets enough stacks from his feast, he gets really, really big in size. It's going to actually end up working against them. Yeah, I think it's going to work against them, because if Seraphine's able to bounce these encores off of Lil Bobby's Cho'Gath, no matter how much he wants to sidestep them. Once you're as big as a skyscraper, there's nowhere you can go. So if they can kind of disrupt the fight with Seraphine and Scion and turn it using that movement speed to reposition, kind of fighting a more vertical team fight instead of, front to back, that could be really advantageous for them. At the same time, they have a lot of throw potential. You have so much movement speed. You, at the same time, can overcommit to fights or run too far past your teammates. Scion goes to ult in. You have Sivir pop on the hunt. Seraphine throws an encore. Next thing you know, Skarner, Shen, and Scion are way in there. And Seraphine and Sivir just got hit by a shockwave. Now you have a 5v3 for a few seconds while they're trying to get back in the fight. So this, more so than most matches we've seen, are going to be extremely positioning oriented by both teams. One having the movement speed and engage, and the other having to play against the opponents having that movement speed and engage.
Right. I will say, pulling back a little bit more towards the player side of things, Dapper Gav, usually the top laner here, is enabling for them with that shockwave being a huge point of contention. Little Bobby put on to that Cho'Gath, and I have faith in him, but it does seem like it's a bit more on the back end of just play it weak. If you get big, you get big. It's going to be our front towards that end in those engages, whether you go for the smite steal or coming through with its knockups when it can be. I'm very interested to see how the sub plays through here for them on Shadowblade Slash, because it's a big pressure on Dapper Gav now to be that centralized force. And it is a big pressure to make sure Thugnuggler, who we have seen play very, very well, can run the map. I mean, you remember our last pre-show from 2 weeks ago. We brought this guy up as much as we love his nuggets. Either way, curious to see where that pressure may evolve, and maybe if Lil Bobby is taken advantage of due to the fact that he is subbing in tonight for Dapper Gav. So something to watch out for.
Yeah, it's a solid point to make. Indeed, Thugnuggler is usually left alone on an island top and still wins lane 3-1, 4-0, stuff like that. They say he's a massive key player, huge when he gets ahead, and still scary when he's behind. So putting in your sub, new to the team, kind of play, filling in that gap is tanky, little Cho'Gath early game trying to scale. We'll see if they're able to kind of abuse that into the late game to get Thugnuggler big and just pressure bot side in the meantime.
Well, we'll have Shadowblade Slash. Maybe they'll make it happen here today, give themselves their first, or Degenerate Esports, which I wrongly stated, which was second. They're actually the league currently right now based off things. They are first with a wide margin between the second place. So we'll have to leave it up to them to just run train on this one. Oh, we're going to be going towards game. Stay tuned. Stick around for our exciting second set. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Excellency Light League. If you're just joining us, we've just entered into our second set of the night. We've got Shadowblade Slash taking on here Degenerate Esports, the top team versus the lowest team here in the league. So we're not saying anything, but it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for Shadowblade Slash.
Yeah, an uphill battle indeed. But if they do get even one win, so let's say they, one game is a smash, lowest ranked team versus the highest ranked team. Even if they don't actually win, if they can get even a super close match, just the show of strength that they'll have of improvement from this entire league is going to be really huge. If they do get a win in this set, that's such a big sign of improvement as a whole. Just seeing Shadowblade Slash grow from their first match into hopefully this game is something to look forward to. They run a really abstract comp, so maybe getting to see, a little bit different of a play with the Ivern jungle, seeing if they can come up with some kind of crazy different play style that's gonna, I guess, blindside Degenerate would be really, really cool.
We'll have to wait and see. It's definitely on the plate, and I'm more interested in seeing what they pull out of Degenerate Esports, even if they don't find that win. So curious to see maybe if the switch works, if the playstyle works, just give themselves an identity to move around with. But like I said, it's not going to be something easy. That being said, you get the reverse starts here, both starting on opposite sides of the jungle for Sovereign and Mechanic Maniac.
Yeah, Ivern jungle is a little bit odd. For anybody who's never really seen an Ivern or has a perfect idea of what he does, he's not allowed to attack jungle camps. He can attack Drake, Rift, and Baron.
Ooh, but Homicidiac. Ooh. Homicidiac, my apologies.
Yeah, Homicidiac, we've seen him before, extremely aggressive, or she's really aggressive, lands a lot of hooks, just picks fights constantly. So that Shen support is really weak into Thresh in the laning phase itself. If they hit level 2, they might have a chance to get a first blood. That is an exhaust Shen, so the chance of winning lane for them is a lot lower, but the chance of losing it is also a lot lower compared to the Ignite Homicidiac is running.
Yeah, Homicidiac definitely running through with that one. I will say, also going to be watching this top side here. Good pressure from Lil Bobby pushing it out, but I'm curious to see how long that's going to last. Fug is going to get very strong very fast, and I want to make sure that the tankiness on the reverse end from Lil Bobby scales up just as well.
Yeah, the corrupting potion start from Fug is extremely aggressive. It's basically just calling it out like, hey, I'm going to be using my abilities on you. They're going to be landing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to be harassing you out.
Sovereign very aggressive onto the Raptors after seeing that invade from Mechanic Maniac onto his side of the end. They can't quite find him even with the rotation from Dapper Gav though.
Yeah, that phase rush makes him so fast. He just kind of gets in, gets your camps. Speedy Scorpion, there you go. Yeah, he's really quick. Kind of that idea of the super speed oriented team comp Degenerates is running this game.
Yeah. We brought it up once, but it is a very fast comp, and ooh, big flame missed there from Homicidiac.
Yeah, they're trying to get as much aggro as you can, but Shen is a manaless champion. He's got energy, so if you keep throwing things out as Thresh, you keep throwing things out as Kai'Sa, and they're not landing, Shen will eventually out-sustain you and then keep that energy. Sivir, she can run out of mana, but we just saw Spell Shielded the Thresh hook, so you have to be really careful how you use your resources to try and win this lane, because both the AD carry and support on Degens will outsource you in mana and quote-unquote, energy versus mana difference.
So I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. I haven't heard of mana being an incredible problem in League of Legends in about 5 or 6 years, but it is what it is. Spam it a little bit too much and maybe it does become an issue.
Well, when you're running Biscuits on AD carry and support for Shadowblade, yeah, that definitely helps with your mana issues a lot. If you run Presence of Mind on top of that for Kai'Sa, then she's really not going to be going at all.
Just fine.
But she opted for Hail of Blades with Biscuits, so no Presence of Mind in this game, no Bloodline for Lifesteal or Alacrity for attack speed, just going for that safe lane, trying to farm up. Like you said, if Vorn hits that late game, way higher damage than Bixis, so is going for that playstyle just off the rune choice.
I will say, looking towards that mid lane, you do have the hovering there from what was Sovereign looking for a potential dive, and now he's going to be spotted out. And Sovereign here doing a great job to play around this. And wow, Mechanic Maniac putting the pressure down. He might be Ivern, but he knows how to take a camp.
Yeah, he whispers sweet nothings into the wolves' ears for a few seconds and then smites them, and they just go, all right, you can have all of our gold.
And says, all right, you're mine. That is terrifying. I know he's doing it nicely, but Ivern is just scary to me. There's a reason they called him Ivern the Cruel.
Yeah, imagine like a 12-foot tree man just lumbering over you as he whispers something to you, comes back and just smites you with the lightning bolt from the heavens.
The roots come up from the ground. They start dragging you into your grave, and he says, "You're one with the forest now, my child."
I like a little bit of a different take on it, where he's freeing you, but we could call it that one too. The difference is Sovereign
terrorist.
I guess so. Sovereign doing a lot more power jungling than Ivern. One of the points I was making earlier before the almost close to first blood fight broke out is that Ivern can't kill camps or attack camps. He can't even just smite a camp. He has to sacrifice health and mana, spend that 2 seconds to trigger his passive on it, and then he can smite it to secure it, or wait a period of time for the camp to finish, and he just clicks it and secures the gold for the camp and experience. So he can just go all 6 of his camps, walk through, click them all, get no HP, base, buy his items, come back, click all 6 of the camps, and get all their gold. But even if the camp's finished, Sovereign, which we saw him do to Raptors, can just walk up and take the camp.
Right.
So the pressure is really heavy on Mechanic to make sure that Sovereign is never in his jungle, taking those marks away for him, or he's going to be down a lot of levels and experience that we've seen every game so far since patch 11.4 came through.
I will say Sovereign's doing a great job of that right off the bat. 2 camp lead across the board here, making sure he's getting on top of the skulls and putting the pressure down. Already onto the dragon immediately here. Not really giving Mechanic much leeway, and he's not going to have much, all right? No offense, Ivern isn't in much of a contestable situation unless he really has that smite to play around. But now we do have Homicidiac and Vorn rotating with Dapper Gav, and the 2 of them, they do get the dragon, but now they're in a bad spot. Burn in Hell gonna be taken down there off of the shockwave from Orianna. First blood finally, and now Encore comes through, gets the charm there onto Dapper Gap, but the root comes through in the response from Mechanic Maniac. They're able to position out with the ball there, but no more kills to be found. So it's dragon for blood there for Dapper.
Yeah, really nice kill for Dapper. Is gonna love having that gold. Being the Orianna with the shockwave is really important in the team. It's kind of how they fight for, almost any 5v5 4v4 they pick. It's how they secured the kill on Burn in Hell to get that first blood. So it's nice, but the reason that Drake was lost is because of that level advantage that Sovereign had. That was the reason they got it. Yeah, Spell Shield is going to block that Thresh Hook. Really nice resolve by Big Sis to hold up. But teleport comes in from Polbox.
There's the double root into there. Big taunt on Idiac, and now Fugna in a bit of a bad spot is that rotation top. It's the 1-for-1 off the map.
Yeah, super nice play. One is with the teleport. Dapper actually did teleport back to mid, so you could say it's a teleport for a teleport in of itself, but yeah, another kill going over to Dapper. The sub from top going down in mid lane seems to be having a lot of success with that rotation. Really not struggling playing the secondary role. Lil Bobby, I can't really say he's struggling too much, but is down 15 CS, has been harassed out of lane. The only reason Fugnuggler died up in the top side was because he went for a really risky dive without using flash. If he did just flash for the auto attack, he would have gotten the kill.
Right. And like I said, at that point, there's not much you can really say about that one. That's just poor decision making. But still, he is controlling the wave very, very well. We've yet to see those feast stacks get to that absurd point that makes Cho'Gath that monster. So mid game will come, and when it does, we will see something a bit more pressing from Lil Bobby. But much to your previous point, Dapper Gav, even though there's rotation down from top to mid, still doing a great job playing into this. So we thought Colbox might give him a bit of trouble, but he kind of is. He did make a great engagement in that bot lane. But in terms of the mid-to-mid play pressure, doing fantastic.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Having those 2 kills, down 13 CS to Seraphine, but tied in levels. Unless
Sovereign flash into the Impale. The Incard does not hit, but the flash might not be enough. Dapper Gab goes down. Now Mechanic Maniac looking for the escape. Ooh, just flashes out of that one barely to make sure he doesn't get rooted.
That was a very solid control ward and caster curse. Yeah, that control ward that they walked past was a death sentence for them. Dapper didn't get the flash over the wall, and Sovereign did. Getting that stinger, landing that, and pulling him in was beautiful. Killed Orianna before she really got a good position for Shockwave. Not to mention that they all split really well, so there was never any way to get a big Shockwave.
Right, and now looking towards this bot side, you don't have Burn in Hell available down there as it stands right now, so we're still getting great pressure from Vorin. I'm interested to see when that pressure is going to garner a successful set of kills or a successful team fight or a dragon for Vorin playing off him, because like I said earlier, he's kind of your major eggs putting into that basket there. You're relying on this Kai'Sa to get to the point where, you know, you play off a great front line with huge engage, off of Shockwave and Daisy and all these things, and then you have Born clean up. So great job with the CS, positioning out well. Interested to see where it goes next.
Yeah, you say that Bixis is alone in the bottom lane. When Shen's got Stand United, she's never really alone in the bottom lane. Yeah, has Flash, has the Spell Shield, has On the Hunt. So that is probably, besides Ezreal, the second safest an AD carry is ever going to be playing in lane solo. Knowing that, Vorin and Homicidiac do use that time to pressure in a CS lead. So still maximizing as much as they can against the Shen roam. But at this point in time, they are 800 gold behind. Mid, top, and jungle are winning in CS across the board for Degenerates. So it's not neutralizing that CS disadvantage.
At this point, though, drag up in the next 20 seconds, and you don't quite have the pressure off of that reset from Vorin and Homicidiac. My apologies, Homicidiac staying in lane down there for as long as they did. So the rotation, not quite going to be what we need to see here. And I think they're just going to let this Infernal slide over. And yeah, that Rift's going to secure that slide.
Yeah, you can't risk letting that turret fall when that's your only lane that's
3 plays
right now. Yeah, I mean, if they're pushing it into splitting this 2-2 Drake and bottom side turret, you have teleport threat from Sion. There's no mana on Cho'Gath, so he couldn't even stop the teleport if he wanted to. You pretty much just have to let this one over, unless Mechanical Maniac can try and get some kind of smite steal, but not even in a position for it.
Not quite, and I don't think he really should have gone for it at that point. It's still second Drake. You still have plenty of time to catch back into it, especially since you've got a comp that scales to a degree, right? So I'd rather them play a little less risky, come back into it, and not bleed as much as they want into Degenerate's Esports. But I will say, for as little as they have achieved, Degenerate Esports is still obtaining a decent lead in terms of macro control.
Oh, most definitely. This is the #1 team in the league currently. Depending on how these 2 sets go, that might change, but they are putting a very strong foot forward going into this one. Shadowblade Slash is doing a really good job of contesting across the board. You know, we talked about Fugnuggler being so strong. He goes 3-1 in lane. Yeah, he's 0-1-0 in lane right now. So Lil Bobby subbing in is doing a beautiful
job. Great job weak side.
Not dying, playing weak side to, you know, the Titan Fugnuggler top side who never loses.
Well, speaking of Fugnuggler, he heard you speaking. He's come bot lane to visit. There's going to be that Stand United to pair along with it as Warren just gets ripped to shreds. The rest of the team has arrived, and that's going to be the last of this bot lane. They're going to push this wave in, secure themselves first turret.
Well, I may have spoken a little bit too soon.
Wow, we are just awful. Ooh, big charm into the Encore there. Can't quite find the taunt. That's going to be a shockwave to prevent Colbox. Don't know if it's enough. That Exhaust is doing great, but that's a great knock-up from Lil Bobby into Mechanic Maniac, getting those roots off. Dapper Gab just barely getting out.
That was the peel of the century. I think Dapper Gav saw the light for a solid 10 seconds and just kept getting dragged back into reality. That's going to be bottom side turret first and possibly a tier 2 turret if they're not able to defend, but Shen might fall.
Good hook into the turret. Lil Bobby with the knockups. He's going to be suppressed and impaled into this backline. Don't think he's tanky, but that hook from Homicidiac gonna save the day.
Yeah, hook and lantern, 2 hooks in a row with that beautifully placed lantern just drags Lil Bobby right back under the turret after being pulled away. Fresh Lantern is so good against Skarner's Sting. He pulls you out of your team into his. Thresh Lantern pulls you away from their team back into yours. If you can't get the lockdown before the lantern click comes through, that Skarner ult is not really going to be really solid. We haven't seen, besides his flash over the wall, that Stinger doing much for him so far. And while that was a really good play from them, they didn't end up getting too much out of, you know, a Drake pick turret into attempted double turret.
Yes, and I do think that plays a bit better into Jen's favor. The gold hasn't quite changed too much. It's only paired up a bit more into the thousands range, and it's a shame we didn't quite get to see Vorn launch into the appropriate position, but he was pushed forward. He was caught out, and he played to a degree, or it did not play to his advantage, and now Fug's deep into that bot lane.
Yeah, really common too. We see Fug do a lot of lane swapping after they get the first turret. They just kind of put him in. He can play strong side and he can play weak side. He doesn't really die for unnecessary reasons almost ever in any of his games. The only time he really dies is when he gets really close to getting a kill.
Stoppable force. Vorn's looking very low there, and the knockup comes up as well. He's slowed out. Fug might just be 2v1ing this. Takes out Vorn. Now his attention's on to Homicidiac. There's going to be the Stand United into the taunt there as Burden Hill picks up the rest of that kill there. Oh my lordy.
Yeah, you put him. It's because I said weak side. All right, I said we're putting Fugnuggler on weak side, and he's not gonna feed. And then Fugnuggler's like, "Wait, you think this is weak side? I'm never in weak side, baby." Double kill in the bottom lane.
Oh gosh, that is disgusting. I did not expect him. Granted, we did see Vorn and Homicide take a lot of turret shots in the plays into the pressure there, and it didn't really work out to the best of their favor. So maybe a bit safer, and you could have seen that 2v1 go a little bit differently. But now on the top side, big flash, but Sovereign's just as fast, coming through with the impale there. There's going to be the stun as well. Bix is pumping it out. He's going to be silenced through, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Under turret they go. That's going to be the kill. Sovereign picking that one up. Deep dive through and through.
I feel bad for Lil Bobby. He's so tanky. That took them about 25 seconds to finish him off under his turret, but Skarner's equally as tanky. So Skarner took like 7 or 8 turret shots there, barely didn't even go below half. Feast comes through, but even being a true damage ability that scales off HP and your health, it's just not enough. And Lil Bobby's been playing weak side this whole game, and he's been doing it perfectly. And the hardest part about playing... Oh, okay.
No,
I thought that Encore was going to bounce through and possibly smite contest Drake for a second there. But yeah, one of the hardest things about playing weak side is Lil Bobby's doing it so well, but playing weak side, you still expect to die. It's just how few times can you die.
My gosh, yeah, I agree, and he's done a great job. Like you said, he comes through. He even got the kill to begin with there off of that bot lane play. So Lil Bobby, fantastic, I will say, but the pressure from the side of Degenerate's Esports is just too much to handle. I mean, across the board, these guys are just popping off. I will say, though, great rotation there from Shadowblade Slash. They make their way towards the bot lane, secure a Drake when they had the potential, knowing that Sovereign was topside. So they're not completely out of it. Ooh, Vorn, Killer Instinct, Fugnuggler trying to take this 1v1 once again here. He does have the potential, that passive not quite being strong enough, though, to rip through him. Ooh, Sovereign, Flash, Impale, suppressing Dapper Gab. Bixis picking that one up off of the passive from Colbox there. Now Homicidiac looking to run away, but under the turret, Sovereign goes. The box is there to get the slow off. They might be playing around, but the hook doesn't hit. There's the flay to pull him back as Burnhill comes through with the Stand United to shield this one out for Sovereign. Now all 5 members have rotated around. Lil Bobby Bit of a shame once again, taken out by Fugnuggler there. Wow. Entire time Orn was backed.
That slow was too strong, and Homicidiac ended up missing the hook because, you know, she was expecting the Skarner to be faster with a massive movement speed comp, and for the first time in this game, Skarner has been nothing but very, very slow, way too slow after that flash impale on Dapper, which was beautiful. Did keep Orianna from getting a shockwave off, so really solid pick potential, really solid team play from Degenerates, rotations. Meanwhile, all of this is being said, Fugnuggler is 1v1ing Kaisa in the bottom side, putting her against the ropes while taking and finishing off that turret. They get the Rift Herald mid. They're, even when not quote unquote getting exactly what they want, they're taking an objective somewhere else every time.
I know we didn't talk about this earlier, but I will say Shadowblade Slash is coming off of a 0-2 here. They just faced against Darkside Academy and lost that one out versus Degenerate Esports, who's coming off a hot 2-0 against one of the best teams in the league, Florida State. So the pressure is on, combined with the past series from the night, as well as the early game not shaping out to the best way possible. I think there needs to be a bit more of a level of respect here from Shadowblade Slash. You saw how far forward Dapper Gav was there. There's an easy flash impale waiting on the other end of that, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that goes into the point I made from Champ Select, which is you don't play around Skarner pressing W and running at you to impale you. You play around Skarner pressing W and hitting Chem Tank and getting Sivir ulted and getting Phase Rush and flashing if he's going to impale you, right? This isn't, oh, I'm 500 range away from him, I'm good.
Oh, well, he just steps right into it this time around. Big Roots to come through into the backline. That Encore, though, with the triple charm into the massive knockup is going to secure this fight. Shockwave just a little bit too late. Vorn finally goes down. Dapper Gav now trying to run away here, but this team's just as fast as we made him out to be. The root doesn't land, but I don't think it even matters. It's a full team ace for Degenerate Esports.
Oh my goodness, Caster Curse indeed. Right as I start talking about the distance difference you need to respect, Fugnuggler, unstoppable onslaught from top lane all the way down river, lands that ultimate, and the team fight breaks out. Your Shadowblade Slash, you're looking at everybody 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 range away. Hey, we're safe to position here. By the way, no, you're not. Full team engage. Ace. Now we get a Baron.
Absolutely. So they're going to play off of this Baron now. The waves are beginning to crash off. Mind you, they still have 2 to play around before they actually are able to secure Soul.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. They are 30 seconds away from third if they're able to secure it. We have a 2-level advantage on Skarner. The Smite Steal is just not available. So, you know, they're going to have to win the fight, or they're going to have to get there first or sneak it or something. And with a full-blown Baron, you have all ults available. Sivir's coming up in 20 seconds. I don't really see that happening. Dapper Gav, this is his moment. He needs to land a 4 or 5 person shockwave and just turn this fight immediately with this AoE Wombo combo Jolly Jumper team comp that we talked about earlier. Otherwise, they don't really have a way back in.
Nope. And now they're taking complete pressure of the current red side of the map here. Sovereign is alone taking this Mountain Drake. There's not much Shadowblade Slash can do in terms of stepping up, and they easily secure it. So Baron, third Drake. These waves are continuing to crash all 3 lanes, and they're going to keep pushing it forward. And even there, Burn in Hell just stole red buff on the bot side.
This 0 damage Shen support steals red. That's not a good sign. Yes.
Ooh, Sovereign here going into this backline, gonna be stunned out before he can get the impale, but finally finds it there onto what is Dapper Gav, going to take him out immediately. It's a double kill though, as Burn in Hell finds another one there onto Homicidiac as well. So 2 members down, waves pushing in, Baron still available.
Yeah, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a little bit of an issue with the stream. The file got corrupted and we had to reload it. We're doing a bit of a radio cast right now. Just imagine you're sitting at home, you're sitting in your car on a nice little cruise listening to us. just our wonderful, beautiful voices, especially Zephyr's, as we narrate the last bit of this game for you.
Right. So either way, here the waves are pushing in bot lane, crashing into the final inhib there on that side. They're not quite able to pull it off, so they all pull back here, but you still have Bixis crashing that mid wave and taking out that turret there. Full team responses. Mechanic Maniacs looking low on the Ivern.
Yeah, they're getting stretched really thin. The macro from Degenerate's just splitting them up in mid, down in bot side, pulling them around, getting these turrets super low.
Ooh, Sovereign flashes forward there, gets the immediate impale onto Vorin. Double charm off the Encore there for the double kill to play off of what is Seraphim. Lil Bobby looking low, gets a great knockup, but Bixis flashes forward, gets the auto. Now, unstoppable onslaught from Fugnuggler to secure the last kill of the game. Degenerate Esports, even if you guys can't see it, take an incredible final fight into taking this Nexus here.
Yeah, 21-3 with 2 Drakes advantage, up 14,000 gold, winning at 25.5 minutes. Degenerate Esports now 3-0 today, the #1 team in the league for sure, and that will officially be game.
Absolutely wonderful job from Degenerates Esports, finishing out 21-3. Oh my gosh, that is just insane lead. And I know this is the top team in the league versus the weakest team, and we were expecting to see this probably if you're looking statistically wise, but that is just quite the sweep.
Yeah, it's huge. Everybody did such a good job. If I had to pick an MVP off of this game, I would say flip a coin or roll a die. Fugnuggler doing Fugnuggler things. Sovereign, 0 deaths this game. Colebox being such a good team player, setting everything up, also 0 deaths. Bixis, 0 deaths. Perfect team player. I mean, Burn in Hell died twice for the team, and that was just necessary. That is just absolutely phenomenal from everybody on their team. I do want to give credit. Shadowblade Slash came off of a 2-loss into this game. They did play pretty well in the early game. Low Bobby subbing in did really good against Fugnuggler, sustaining out that early game. Did have some good teleports, and Dapper rotating into mid, having to hold that down as a filled position. And Vorin being pretty dominant early game, winning in CS against Bixis, being the only one to do so for the first half of the match.
Right. I will say, you did see some decent play coming through. You got that little Bobby coming in as a sub, doing very, very well against Fugnuggler. That was a surprise, to say the least. And while he was playing weak side, it was very well. I would have liked to see a bit more pressure from Mechanic Maniac up against Sovereign, but Dapper Gav, for what was the beginning of that game, very decent on the Orianna. Tried to play out the shockwaves as best he could, came through with rotations. It just wasn't quite enough. So going into the second game, we'll have to see if they're able to put the pressure, maybe the pedal to the metal, and see if they're a bit more successful against Degenerate Esports.